my name is Charlotte Isidoro, and today we are going to be making a capsicum and onion frittata, which is basically an Italian omelette. The ingredients we're going to be using today are, of course, eggs. We have the red capsicum, and as I'm Italian, I like to put basil pretty much everywhere, so we have some fresh basil to use. Onion, I like to use blonde onions rather than white onions. I think they're less bitter. Milk, preferably the full fat version. It gives a nicer consistency to the omelets. And then, very important ingredient is Parmigiano Reggiano. Please buy the good stuff. And the good stuff has a stamp on it that says Parmigiano Reggiano Consorzio, which means that it's been approved from the consortium that makes this cheese. Try also to avoid, don't try. Do not buy the ready grated version. Grate it yourself. It always makes a huge difference in the quality of your end product. Also, we will be using olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and we have salt and black pepper. Okay, so now we're going to start by chopping the onions. Once you have your onion nice, flat, and positioned, you start slicing it. Doesn't have to be too thin, preferably not too thick. That's the idea. It's not necessary in this dish to mince the onion. However, if you absolutely want to mince the onion, then go ahead and mince the onion. I'm going to put some olive oil in my frying pan, turn it on to medium heat, and I'm going to put the onion in now. I do not like to put onion and garlic in hot oil. So while the onion and the oil are warming up, I'm going to slice my capsicum. I usually try to remove a bit of the inside, so I flatten it out a bit. And then, once it's like this, I'll just slice it up. Nice and easy. So the onions are sauteing nicely. Just stir them around once in a while to make sure they're not coloring too much or burning. I think I'm going to slightly lower the heat. Now, I'm going to add the capsicum to the onions. Of course, when I add the capsicum to the onions, the temperature of the frying pan will decrease slightly. In that case, I'm going to increase the heat a little bit more and just make sure it starts stir-frying. Everything starts stir-frying nicely. So, mix them all up nicely. And what I'm going to do now is I will add a bit of salt in this stage. It will suck out some of the water from the vegetables, helping them cook faster. Okay, so while the capsicum and the onions are cooking, we're going to crack eggs now. Try to not get eggshells in the cracked eggs, please. And if you do, remove them. Nobody wants to eat eggshells. Use a whisk to break through the eggs. Once it's all mixed together and broken up, you can add your milk. You can add the Parmesan cheese. Now, Parmesan cheese, you can put as much as you want. It's not supposed to taste solely of Parmesan cheese, but you're supposed to taste it a little bit. Very important information about basil leaves. Basil leaves are to never be sliced on a chopping board using a knife. They are far too delicate for it. So basil leaves, just hand rip them, okay? We will not be using the stalks of the basil leaves, just the leaves. So, at this point, I have my cheese, my eggs, my basil in here. All I'm gonna add is a pinch of salt and a bit of pepper. Now, at this point, I need to add my vegetables to the egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the vegetables from the frying pan, put them in here just to cool it down a little bit. So just a little bit, cool down, and then I'm going to add them in the eggs. We've got a beautiful orange color from the capsicum. Mix it all up nicely. Okay, now we are going to fry this thing, or this omelet. So our mix is in the bowl, everything looks absolutely beautiful. And I got my frying pan. I am going to be putting some olive oil. So turn on the heat, warm it up. We want some heat from this, not a lot, but we want a little bit of it, okay? So my oil is smoking at the moment, so I'm going to be adding the ingredients in. Of course, when you make an omelet, you don't want to be stirring anything around at any point. You just want to let it set. So, increase the heat, let it set. Now, what I've been doing recently is also covering it up because the steam will help cook it a little faster and it will help cook even the top a little faster. you can use a comfortable plate to flip your omelet, which is what we're gonna do. It's not very hard, don't be scared, nothing to worry about. You just put a plate over your frying pan, hold the plate down strongly, lift it up, and in one swoop movement, you flip it over. This side of the omelet is cooked properly, and it's golden brown. Maybe a little darker than I would have liked, but it's fine. And what we're gonna do at this point to cook the other side is we're gonna simply very delicately flip it down. So as you can see, I don't have any omelets on the floor. I haven't flipped any omelets in the sky. Everything is where it should be. At this point, all I'm gonna do is get a little bit of color on the bottom side. Since it's moving around, what the omelet is telling me is that the bottom is perfectly sealed. So it's cooked. I can remove it and I can serve it. Okay, here we go. Our capsicum and onion frittata is ready.